Welcome to Xinhua Commentary. Today, let's talk about the elephant in the room, but no one has really called it out loud until now. Before that, we have to tell you a story. An 11-year-old boy who was so happy to see snow for the first time in his life that he went out to play without the slightest knowledge that he wouldn't wake up the next morning because the freezing cold would kill him during the night. You might think this is a made-up story or at least a story that happened a long time ago in a third world country. But in fact, it happened just this month, and the boy named Cristian Pineda came to America with his family 2 years ago and had lived in a 4-decade-old mobile home with little insulation. And sadly, that's not the only heartbreaking tragedy. The unexpected natural disaster plus outdated infrastructure are to blame, of course, but the level of incompetence, dereliction of duty, and lack of sense of responsibility of local governments and officials are just as horrific. And during the deadly winter storm, Texas Senator Ted Cruz flew off to Mexico with his family, leaving his dog at home alone. Well, that just pisses me off on so many levels, but he has apologized, which, makes everything okay.
When you've got two girls who have been cold for two days and haven't had heater power, and they're saying, hey, look, we don't have school, why don't we go, let's get out of here. I think there are a lot of parents that'd be like, all right, if I can do this, great. That's what I wanted to do.
Another apology comes from New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. He didn't do anything as bad as leaving his dog unattended. He simply underreported the number of COVID deaths among New York nursing home patients and then delayed sharing potentially damaging information with state lawmakers. They're not taking people's lives seriously, and they're not even the worst. Check out what former mayor of Colorado City, Texas, Tom Boyd has said on Facebook. No one owes you or your family anything, nor is it the local government's responsibility to support you during trying times like this. Socialist governments has led people to become dependent for handouts. Anyway, thank you, Tom, for at least shouting out the truth that socialist society does care about its people. Isn't the people's well-being what human rights should really be about? The United States should stop pointing fingers at other countries and start soul-searching at its own human rights track record. To mention just a few, education on coronavirus among the public is a total bust. Many still believe that the pandemic is a hoax. The U.S. life expectancy dropped to a staggering 1 year in the first half of 2020, a record high since the World War II. Constant reverses in policies and positions impede progress and break consistency. And partisan rivalries makes it nearly impossible to respond with efficiency, and that costs lives. You think that's it? Listen to this.
The American people should not be putting up with this. Your coverage is so slanted, it's got to stop. I'm tired of the biased media on both sides, left and right.
And don't forget that Trump pardoned dozens of people close to him before he left the White House. So this is it. Justice is manipulated like a children's game, and the media crave for clicks and views at the expense of journalistic integrity and credibility. Those practices have long been toxic to the system that America's founding fathers came up with in the first place. Apart from so many failures on gun issues, racism, social equality, the sheer number of confirmed cases and deaths says it all. More George Floyds and kids like Cristian will die if the United States doesn't start to look from within and think about what has gone wrong with its own human rights performance.